Hey guys, what is going on? It is Type 1 Knowledge back here today. We're going to be going over some more information. Before we do, I just want to go over a few things. First of all, you guys are obviously seeing on the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button and be sure to check out the website. The website is what I'm actually have pulled up here. There's been a few new things added to the front page about the apparel shop where you can now buy Type 1 Knowledge apparel. I'll go ahead and pull that up for you. Or maybe not. But as you click on this link, you're going to get this web page where you can purchase all kinds of stuff, such as t-shirts, phone cases, mugs, aprons, phone cases, buttons, any kind of thing you want, sweatshirts, anything. You can now head over just to this link and purchase them as you wish. There's all kinds of cool stuff on here. Now, back to the website. As you guys navigate through the homepage, you're going to see these diabetes success stories. There's, I believe, 2 on here as of right now. There's Ryan Reed and Sebastian. Also down here we have donations accepted. There's just some things about my story and about myself and about my diabetes diagnostics. Now, you see on these videos that we go over these tabs here and we cover these slide presentations on here. So today we're just going to be going, we did general education last time. Today we're going to be going over living with diabetes. Now when you click on these tabs, you're going to notice there's a new outline to them. Used to, it would just pop up with the a link that you clicked on and opened a new page. Now that you're going to see these pages actually load the slides in a container, but you also have the download PDF version. So you're going to see that you can just click these buttons down here and scroll through here. However, that's not how we're going to be going over the presentations. We're actually going to be opening up in this full screen and going over them. Now, as I said, we're going to be going over the living with diabetes presentation today. So first of all, we need to know what diabetes is before we can talk about living with it. Now, diabetes is a process where your body, for type 1 diabetes, is a process where your body does not create insulin. Now when you eat food, the nutrients and foods are actually broken down by the insulin to provide your cells with energy. Now when you don't have this insulin, it's impossible for them to break down. So when they do not, it does not break it down into glucose, causing your glucose level to rise. Now in people, in complex carbohydrates are broken down into glucose, which enters your bloodstream and circulates to the rest of your body. Now once your glucose reaches the cells, it moves from the bloodstream into the cells, and that's how it converts it to energy. Now that's the opposite with type 1 diabetics. This process does not happen properly. Now with insulin, when the body cannot use glucose without insulin, that's like I was saying, it can't break it down and convert it to energy. So insulin is actually a hormone that causes cells to remove glucose from the bloodstream. Therefore, when insulin lowers the amount of glucose traveling free in the bloodstream, insulin is produced by special cells in the pancreas. Now when glucose levels are high, more insulin is released into the bloodstream. When glucose levels are lower, less insulin is released into the bloodstream. Now, these last 2 lines, diabetics do not have this function. It does not produce insulin efficiently or at all. Now what happens to cause diabetes is the pancreas does not produce enough insulin or no insulin at all, and the body cells don't respond to the insulin. Now the result is diabetes, obviously. And diabetes is a disorder in which the cells are unable to obtain glucose from the blood, such that the high glucose levels results. Now diabetic coma is one complication that can come within diabetes. It's just a loss of consciousness that happens when there's too much blood sugar and a buildup of toxic substances in the blood. Without treatment, diabetic comas can result in death. Now, types of diabetes, you need to know the types before you can actually diagnose and how to live with them. The 3 most common types of diabetes are type 1, type 2, and gestational diabetes. Each type has its own characteristics. Now, when I started Type 1 Knowledge, as you can tell by the title, it's dedicated to type 1 diabetes, which is what I have myself. Type 2 is where the body does produce insulin, but it doesn't use it or process it efficiently. And gestational is basically just diabetes while being pregnant. Now this is type 2 diabetes. type of diabetes, and this is type 1. It accounts for only about 5 to 10% of diabetes cases in the United States. Now, it develops when the immune system attacks the insulin-producing cells of the pancreas called beta cells. The body is unable to produce insulin, and it is believed to be caused by both genetic factors and viruses. Now, type 1 diabetes can be treated with daily injections, however, there's no permanent cure at the time. Now, it's usually diagnosed before the age of 18. I was personally diagnosed at the age of 15. Now, symptoms of diabetes are usually severe and develop over a short period of time. Usually, it's not a gradual oncoming symptoms. Now, the common symptoms include increased thirst, frequent urination, fatigue, weight loss. Also, extreme, like your eyes feel stressed. Types of diabetes is type 2. It's one of the most common forms of diabetes in the United States. Now, most common among adults who are over 40 years of age. It just seems to happen as you get older and your body doesn't process properly. Now, unlike type 1, the body produces insulin, but the body cells fail to respond to. Common symptoms of type 2 include frequent urination, unusual thirst, blurred vision, frequent infections, and slow healing sores. And symptoms usually appear gradually, unlike type 1. Now, this is kind of a rare type of diabetes. It's actually one that eventually can go away. Occasionally, a pregnant woman can develop diabetes near the end of her pregnancy. Usually, the diabetes does go away after the baby is born. Now, it can increase the chances of complications during the pregnancy. Symptoms are the same as type 2, but milder. Now, detecting and treating diabetes, it does require for a medical diagnosis, and it's getting help for it as early as possible can decrease your chances of developing serious side effects and complications of diabetes. Now, early detection is important in case of diabetes. Patients risk complications such as blindness, kidney disease, strokes, and amputations of the lower limbs. The first step is to see your doctor if you have any symptoms of diabetes. Now, once diagnosed, a person can work with her doctor to keep the diabetes under control. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, there is no cure for the diabetes yet. Now, treating it for type 1 diabetes, the goal of treatment is to keep the blood glucose levels as close to normal as possible. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. For most parts, anywhere from 120 to 150 is in range. Now, people who have type 1 diabetes usually must test their blood glucose several times a day. Personally, my doctor says 4 to 6. Now, many people with type 1 diabetes also need several doses of insulin each day to keep their blood glucose levels within a normal range. Basically, there's two types. There's the syringes and then the insulin pens. There's also the insulin pumps that deliver the insulin, kind of like the pancreas system would. Now, most diabetics must learn to give themselves insulin injections, which is the vials and the needles in the hospital. Now, treating type 2 is a little bit different. Although insulin is sometimes used to treat it, more common control focuses on diet and exercise. A healthy diet can help prevent with type 2 diabetes and can control the amount of glucose they eat and help them control their weight. Now, foods with no sugar do not need to be avoided completely, but must be eaten in moderation and consideration. Now, physical activity is also important. Helps the body use more of the glucose in the blood and keeps the person's weight at a healthy level. Now, new treatments of diabetes. Researchers are actually working on new treatments for diabetes. They're hoping that these new treatments will actually help diabetics monitor their blood glucose better, provide new methods of delivering insulin, and help reduce the severity of symptoms. Now, they're also working on ways to transplant insulin-producing cells into people with type 1 diabetes. Now, preventing it, there's no way to prevent type 1 diabetes. However, exercise, a healthy diet, and insulin injections as needed can allow a person to lead a healthy life. Now, several things a person can do to reduce his or her risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Again, healthy diet, avoid tobacco products, and the stress in your life to avoid. Now, if you guys are interested, this link will be in the description. You can take a little test on living with diabetes. And that is all we have for today. So I hope this helped you guys a little bit. I hope you guys learned some new things today. If you guys want to have a particular subject you want to add to the website, or that you ask for us to cover in a video, just let us know and we'll be happy to do it. Other than that, guys, it's been Type 1 Knowledge, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.